You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Tape Deck Media.
Welcome to Line by Line, Romeo and Juliet, a Ruddle Me This podcast mini-series. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be bringing on actors, comedians, and other people that are knowledgeable about the bard himself, William Shakespeare. Each episode, I'm going to bring on a different guest, and we're going to go through the play line by line, and the guest is going to explain to me the bits of the language or add context here and there, basically just explain to me whenever I get stuck. I don't know how many episodes there are going to be of this. We're basically just going to see how far through the play we can get in the 40-minute Zoom time limit and go from there. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the show. Jeff Clark, welcome back. Delightful to have you here.
Delightful to be here.
What was the scene we did when you were last on? Was it the...
We did the whole introduction of Juliet and her relationship with her parents.
That's right, we did too. So, since we last recorded, we just did the scene where Benvolio and Mercutio were struggling to find... I think Romeo ran off somewhere, and they seem to have given up looking for him. And so this week we have the honor of the famous Scene 2, Act 2.
The balcony scene.
The big scene.
Yes,
so,
it's a good one.
Yeah, one of the few scenes that I'm actually sort of familiar with from seeing movies and stuff in general. But yeah, when I pitched this to another actor, he was a little bit like, I think we better leave that to someone a little more versed in Shakespeare than I. So I thought, Jeff's the man.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's a short scene leading up to it too. Like, it is very short. Like, did you do the prologue and scene 1? Or is that, like, it just flows straight in? Like, it's very cinematic, this whole bit. It's like, hey, things are going great, aren't they? And then, Romeo's our way. Where are you? We're drunk. And then he literally just sort of walks in after they leave.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess we can get straight down to it. Would you rather play Romeo or Juliet in these ones?
Oh, would I rather be wooed or be the wooer? I mean, they're both pretty good. I don't know. Which one do you think is going to be less like they're both going to be interesting. They're definitely going to get some reinterpretation stuff. But
yes, I'm curious to hear what you think about some of these things. So I'll do.
I'm happy to. Yep.
I'll do Juliet, and you can be Romeo. So
we've agreed on our gender roles. That's great.
Nice, very progressive.
All right.
So scene 2, Capulets.
So Romeo, yep.
Capulet's orchard, enter Romeo. He jests at scars that never felt a wound.
That never felt a wound. Yeah, it's basically, oh, the stuff they were just saying, nah, I don't care what they say about me. It's like, he's just yelling and they've just thrown out a few sort of insults. And he's like, I don't care.
Oh,
And
so
then, of course, he sees Juliet.
he
Yeah,
actually
he's
heard them.
commenting on the previous scene. Yeah.
Ah, gotcha. I thought for some reason, no, I just got it mixed up because then it says Juliet appears above at a window. So I thought he was looking at Juliet and he was like holding his heart like heartache or so, that kind of thing. But no, that makes a lot more sense what you said.
No, no, no. He's literally like that's why I like this. This is like Shakespeare doing great because normally scene is like everyone leaves and then it's a whole new time and whole new place. Whereas it's like actually Romeo is there. Now he's going into the next. Now it's just sort of flowing scene to scene.
Yes.
It's yeah, it's all one big thing.
Okay. So did you want to give
Yeah,
us some of
sure, great.
Romeo's first line here?
Yeah, but soft. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet you see, she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Bravo, Jeff. That was brilliant. So
Thank you.
he is really beset by this sort of emotional pain that he is going through at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's agonizing over the fact that he's not up there with her, isn't he?
And he's agonizing on it and he's laboring over his metaphors. He's
Yes.
like, she's the sun, kill the moon because it's nighttime. He's saying, look at the moon. The moon is sick and it's pale and it's white and you're cooler. You're much hotter than the moon. Don't pay attention to the moon, you know. Oh, if only she knew that I loved her. Oh, she's talking to herself. Maybe I should say something. No, probably shouldn't. She's talking to the sky. And then, oh, look how nice the stars are. She's looking at the stars. She's prettier than the stars. Yeah, if she had stars in her eyes, her face would like be better than those. She's real pretty. Oh man, I wish I could be a glove and touch her cheek. Like it's just, here's a
Yeah.
metaphor, here's another metaphor, here's another metaphor. And he's sort of second guessing himself in there as well.
Yeah, because I noticed you even did the action of moving forward when you were delivering that, but then drawing
Yeah, it's like,
back.
oh, maybe I'll talk to her. No, I shouldn't talk to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to go
So
great on a podcast.
so that line, what light through yonder window breaks, is like one of the most famous lines from the play.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any insight as to why that line has stuck with people so much over the years?
It's a nice line.
Yeah,
It's like, um, I just wish I could be with her.
yeah,
I would be happy being an inanimate object and just sort of there,
yeah. We did a
you know,
yeah, no, I think I get you. Yeah, it is just a poetic sort of line, and that's Romeo's whole thing is that he waxes poetic all the time. So
a
yeah.
lot, a lot. Yeah.
One of my favorite, we did some skits, that was sort of New Zealandy TikTok sort of content, and we rewrote Shakespeare as if it was done by, or if he was born in New Zealand. And one of the lines that Jared
Yeah.
Cook wrote was, "What car through yonder window breaks," which I thought was quite a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
tasteful ramrod joke.
Yeah, I mean, what light through yonder window breaks. It's a beautiful metaphor. It is a really beautiful. She's a light, she's luminous, she's
Mm,
beautiful. And it's a real, like everyone knows what it's like to see light breaking through the window. It's a lovely moment.
that's true.
And it's just saying she's the center of his world.
Yeah,
She's everything.
that's right. Okay, so then Juliet says, "I me."
And that's it. She just literally does a little sigh.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, she speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel." A little more than you need to.
Yeah.
For thou art as glorious as to this night, being, oh, my head, as a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white, upturned, wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air. It's like, she said one little thing, and it's like, oh, that's the best.
That set him
And
off.
you're beautiful. You're like an angel. Mortals, would look at that and fall back to gaze on an angel and sails upon the bosom of the air. It's like, yeah, she's great.
Okay. So then Juliet says another one of the famous lines. She says, "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be sworn by or be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet." So that
Yeah,
line,
there's a really common thing that bugs me about this line. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Wherefore art thou Romeo? It's not her looking around going, where is Romeo?
uh-huh.
Wherefore art thou means, why are you Romeo? That's the
Ah,
whole point. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. That's the whole conclusion of that thought. Because he's Romeo, she loves him.
yeah,
Deny thy father, refuse thy name. And then she says, or if you're not going to deny your name, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. So she knows that he is a Montague.
yeah,
She's realized that he is Romeo Montague. Why are you that?
yeah.
Give
So
up being Romeo, cast off your parentage, cancel it. Or if you can't do that, if you will love me, I will forsake my family.
mm. So she's jumped to that
So
very quickly from a quick meeting scene on the stairs, and so she's kind of
yep,
equally as smitten as Romeo is by the sound of
absolutely.
it. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so Romeo.
And of course, Romeo does a little aside. Shall I speak more? Shall I hear more? Or shall I speak at this?
Ah, he's almost talking to the audience there, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So then Juliet continues on, "'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague." What is a Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man, which I think is kind of an innuendo there, isn't
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it?
This was done really, really well by Claire Danes in the Baz Luhrmann version. She does a little
Yes,
smell, nor any other
she
part belonging to a
does.
man.
She does.
Yeah, it's great.
So she says, "Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection, which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name." I love that line, "doff thy name. And for that name,
Doff
which
it.
is no part of thee, take all myself." So another sort of famous line from
Yep.
Juliet here. Um,
Yep.
and she's just lamenting the fact that, like, why are we even,
Yeah.
why do we have to sort of obey
Yeah.
this?
We're just human beings, man.
Yeah,
Montague is just an abstract concept that's been put on us to keep us apart. It is, but that's the whole thing, right? It's like, what's Montague? It's not your hand, not your foot, not any other bit. Wink, wink to the audience, chuckle,
yeah,
chuckle. And it's like, you know what? Names are pretty stupid, really.
yeah,
What that which we call a rose, if we called it something else, it'd be fine.
yeah,
Stink butts. We could call it stink butts. People go, oh, I love them stink butts. And it's the thing. It's like she's just saying she's she's also showing a bit more thoughtfulness here because she is like, well, there's a problem here. She is aware that there's a problem. And she's saying, well, if you weren't Romeo, it would be great. You'd still be perfect. It'd still be awesome. So doff your name, doff it, and I'll take you.
in
You can
in
take me.
in these sort of times, if they were to like doff their name, they would essentially become, like, I guess, homeless, right?
I mean, yeah, in that age especially, it would be like, give up any chance of your inheritance, give up your entire family, get yourself disowned, disinherited, all of that.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
So very much a big thing to do, to doff thy name. So
yeah.
then what does Romeo say next?
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth, I never will be Romeo.
So he's agreed very quickly to
Sweet. I'm not going to be Romeo. Just call me but love, not
yeah.
but love. love.
Yeah. So then Juliet, so they still haven't, well, Juliet doesn't know he's there yet, does she?
Random guy shouting up at her from the ground.
Oh, so they are talking to each other, but she doesn't know it's Romeo.
Yeah. This is the
Ah,
point where he stepped forward and he's like, "Shall I speak at this?" And she says, "Take all myself." And he goes, "I take thee at thy word. Call me
gotcha.
but love, and I'll be new baptized. And henceforth I never will be Romeo.
So then Juliet says, What man art thou that thus be screened in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name, I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written, I would tear the word.
So there's what I like about Shakespeare is the characters are often yes-anding each other. Where
Oh yeah.
like she said, you're not allowed to call yourself Romeo, and so he's like, I don't know how to respond as to who I am because according to the rules
I
that
don't
you've
know how
just
to.
established.
Yeah.
So I quite like that
Yeah, it's
about.
like, who are you calling up at me? And it's like, I can't tell you because I
Yeah,
hate my name. Had I
yeah.
written it down, I'd tear it up.
So then Juliet says, My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo and a Montague?
For neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike. So yeah, it's like we haven't even spoken 100 words. They have, I counted, but just a wee bit over that. But yeah, he's like neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike. So are you Romeo and a Montague? He's like, I'm not going to be either if you don't like it.
That's
A
right.
little playful, a little fun.
And he's sort of calling back to their first conversation where they talked about saints on the staircase, didn't they?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yeah, exactly.
So then Juliet says, How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place of death, considering who thou art, if any my kinsman found thee here.
So yeah, again, wherefore means why.
Yes, okay,
So
gotcha.
how did you get here and why? The orchard
Yep,
walls are high and hard to climb, which is the first part. How camest thou hither? And the place death, considering who thou art. So why did you come here? This place is death, if any of my kinsmen find you. It's really important to know wherefore is not just where, it is
mm,
why. Yeah,
I've
it's a really common misconception that people make, but I think it really is important because wherefore, why are you Romeo? Is much more interesting than where are you
it
Romeo?
is, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And of
S-
course, he answers with a nice wanky thing, which is, with love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do that dares tempt love attempt. Therefore, thy kinsmen are no let to me. So it's like, hey, I flew over on love's wings, and love can do anything. Your
That's right.
kinsman, no problem. I'm
That's right.
sweet. I suspect he's slightly drunk in this scene,
It
or
does have
high,
the vibe
or
of someone who's had a couple of vodka cruises and is like swaying a little bit, and yeah, Dutch courage, I think
not
they call it.
often has had more than like, not often had more than a shandy.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So then Juliet says, If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
And of course, alack, there lies more peril in thine eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
So what does enmity mean again? Sorry.
Grumpiness, anger, rage.
Ah,
I am
so
proof against their enmity. I'm fine. If you look sweet, I'm fine. If you look sweet, I'm sweet. That's what he's saying. Like
yeah,
he's really just going, oh, love is gonna protect me. It's gonna lift me up where we belong. All we need is love.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So then Juliet says, I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
So this is the
She's a realist. He's a poet. She's
yes,
everything she says are very valid
yeah.
points.
She's
You
very very
know, why
practical.
are you here? It's very dangerous. I don't want them to find you.
Uh,
Hey, I've got night on my side. And hey, you love me, so it's sweet. You
I
know, I would rather they kill me thou than my death be prorogued or prolonged or later, wanting of thy love. In other words, if you didn't love me, I wouldn't want to live a long time.
That's right. I almost picture him floating around a bit like you know when Bugs Bunny smells like a pie and he sort of floats
Yeah,
in the air. I almost picture Romeo floating and swaying around a bit like that. And yeah, like
he
you say,
absolutely is. He's quasi-manic at this. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can play it. He is either just standing fixed and staring and firing these lovely lines directly at her. But I have seen other productions where he just sort of sways around
Mm.
and wanders, and he's not even looking at her. He's focusing on his own brilliant poetical, I'm so safe, I'm so great. Ah,
Yeah,
love is my all I need. It's my protection. Ah, protection, by the way, optional. But he's
that's
like
right.
he's just floating around.
Yeah,
Um, and you play this scene can kind of establish, you can play this quite comedically. You can
yeah,
play this very sweetly. Um, you can play it with him being quite manic. Like it's like he could shout out, let them find me here. Well, like he can go, you could do it with him going through a bunch of stuff. Like there are so many great ways to interpret the scene, and each one shows that relationship or sets up that relationship in a different way.
yeah. I've seen quite a good one. It's on, I think it's like the Globe Theatre's official YouTube channel, and they did like a sort of whispered version of it where he's actually sort of climbed most of the way up the balcony and they're kind of whispering to each other through the
Yeah,
balcony.
yeah.
It was quite a cool version of it, yeah.
And that's great. And that's the other thing. Like, this is a really lovely, intimate courtship scene, but it is also a guy standing on the ground and a girl up in a balcony. Sometimes he's climbed up to her, and the point at which he climbs up to her is also an interesting choice that you can make as an actor or director.
Yeah, that's
Like, at
right.
what point do they actually connect physically?
I think
Um,
in Baz Luhrmann's one, he's like he climbs up some ivy or something and then sort of drops down
yeah,
behind her, which I didn't like. I like the separation between them for some reason.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So then
Yeah.
Juliet says, "By whose direction foundst thou out this place?"
My love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yes, wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise. So basically, how'd you find your way? Love showed me the way.
Love's
He's not
compass.
really answering her questions.
He's not
Love's
a.
compass, and his compass is definitely pointing north because he's like saying, if you were as far away as the vast shore, I would adventure for such merchandise. Um,
Yeah.
you know, I would travel a long way for that booty.
So then Juliet's got a long one here. She says,
Yep.
"Thou knowst the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, fain would I dwell on form, fain deny. What have I spoke but farewell compliment? Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swears thou may prove false at lovers' perjuries, then say, Jove laughs, O gentle Romeo. If thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully, or if thou thinkest I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the word. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my haviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but thou overheardst ere I was ware. My love's true, my true love's passion, therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered. Juliet talks kind of weirdly compared to the rest of the characters. She uses a lot of different words that I've not seen come up yet, like
Yeah, I
dost
mean,
and
yeah,
wilt. Yeah.
yep, yep. I mean, she's been brought up fancy,
Ah, so this is
and
like,
basically,
yeah.
and she's thinking. The whole thing is, well, you've caught me saying how much I love you, so I can't really do much about that. You know that I love you. I know that if you love me, and I know you're going to say you do, well, you need to prove it. Like, you know, and also don't swear because she says, I love that one, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries, then say Jove laughs. So God laughs at lovers' oaths.
Yeah.
And then she says, if you love me, say it faithfully. Or if you think I'm too quickly won, I can play hard to get. That'll be fine. But I am too fond. I love you too much. But I
Mm.
will be more true than people that have more cunning to be strange. So what she means there is the smart people play hard to get. I'm not going to. You heard me before I was aware of your passion. Therefore, pardon me. and not impute this yielding to light love. So don't mistake this confession of love to light love, which the Dark Knight hath so discovered. So she's basically saying, well, yeah, you basically said, well, you've caught me. I really love you. And I get the impression that you really love me. And so let's just love each other. And, if you wanted to, I could pretend to be, but I don't want to. Let's just love each other.
She's quite
And he's like,
thoughtful, isn't she?
she is very thoughtful. And that's part of the whole tragedy of the thing is
Mm,
she is very thoughtful and he's very impetuous. And you can see this here because he starts with a bunch of, I'm gonna make an oath then. Because she said, don't make any oaths. His immediate response, lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear that tips with silver all these fruit treetops.
she cuts him off. Oh,
Yep.
swear not by the moon, the inconsistent moon that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
So she's smart. I
She
swear by the
is.
moon. No, the moon changes all the time.
The moon changes, the moon
What
comes
shall
and
I,
goes.
yeah,
Yeah.
what shall I, and he's like, what shall I swear by?
So she says, do not swear at all, or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
So yeah, just swear by yourself. And he's like, if my heart's dear love,
She
and then she
cuts him
cuts
off
him off again
again.
because he's ramping up. Like,
Yeah.
again, you can deliver this whole scene. Like you can do, if my heart's dear love, you can see him like taking a deep breath. He's getting ready to do
He
another epic
comes alive,
monologue.
yeah.
Yep. Or it can be he's like getting real close and he just wants to make out with her. All of that stuff. Like, and that's the whole thing. It's like, you know what? You're getting carried away. And she's already being a good influence.
Yeah.
It's like, if my heart's dear love, and then she says,
Yeah. So she says, well, do not swear, although I joy in thee. I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too advised, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be, ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when we next meet. Good night, as sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast. So she's kind of saying, this is all well and good. We like each other. We've established that, but you're trying to move a little quick here, fella. So let's just call it. And then this could be a good thing, but
yeah,
don't fuck it up. Don't
yeah,
ruin
this is
it.
great.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe this bud will be a flower later on. It's like, hey, great to see you. Awesome. Love me, love you.
Yeah.
Good. This is two thumbs up on
Yeah.
the establishing of our feelings. We're nice
Yeah.
and clear, but it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Let's just chill a little bit.
Let's just
And then
pump the
Romeo,
brakes. Yeah.
yep, and well, good metaphor because he's like, oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
Juliet, what satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
Again, you can deliver
Yeah.
that great. Like,
Yeah.
will you leave me so unsatisfied? Or what satisfaction you think you're going to get?
Yeah.
And then he's doing a little scramble. He goes, the exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. It's like, oh, he's either in damage control mode or he's actually, or he might be sincere.
Yeah. So then Juliet says, I gave thee mine before thou did request it, and yet I would were to give it again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
Juliet says, but be frank, and give it thee again, and yet I wish for nothing. Sorry, I'll read it. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is boundless as the sea, my love is deep the more I give to thee. The more I have, for both are infinite. And then the nurse calls from within. She says, I hear some noise within, my love, adieu. Anon, good nurse, sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again. Exit above.
So yeah,
Um,
nice. It's like, hey, have you exchanged? You haven't said that you love me. He's basically saying, I've made a faithful vow, sort
yeah.
of. I'd like you to give one. And then she's like, I've already
Well,
given it to you.
I have done before you even asked, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that line. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then she leaves. And then oh, blessed night. I am afeard. Being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
Re-enter Juliet above.
Yeah.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. that if thy bent of love be honourable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world. And the nurse from within, Madam, Juliet,
Madam,
I come anon, but if thou means not well, I do beseech thee.
madam.
And by I come to cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow I will send
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
A little bit of comedy there, a little bit of, hey, do you want to go get married? Oh, annoying nurse. I love you. I love you. Shut up. I'm coming. Oh, I love you. I love you. Shut up. It's great. It's great. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's also establishing there's a lot of shit going on that's getting in the way.
yeah,
Yeah. Like, I want to love you. I want to love you. Madam, madam. Like, it's already just giving that little discord into this beautiful scene.
that's right. Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
yeah, Juliet's definitely like sort of okay, like good night, like I'm ending this now.
yeah,
But and then yeah,
yeah.
like, this and that and this and that.
I also love the fact that it is like, oh, yeah, you're moving a bit fast. Oh, I'm coming back. By the way, if you want to get married,
Yeah,
yes, I'll just send someone to arrange it tomorrow. Like, but also that is the honorable thing to do,
it
right? She's
is.
been
It
prepped
is.
for marriage her whole life. For a
Yeah.
for a young lady, that is the only honorable way to get married and to indulge in all those teen things that they're wanting to do, you
Mm,
know? Um, so then
yes.
uh, she leaves 1,000 times good night. He's 1,000 times what I like. Love goes towards love, schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks.
Retiring. Re-enter Juliet for a third time. Hist, Romeo, hist, oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine, with repetition of my Romeo's name. So is she kind
It
of
is my
doing,
soul that calls upon him. Oh, hist, Romeo, hist, just psst. He's going, Romeo, Romeo. So he's
oh,
kind of
right.
left. That's the tires. He retiring, it means he's leaving.
Yeah,
And then she comes in and says, Romeo, there's something else. And he's like, and she's basically saying, I wish I had a louder voice. That's
right,
basically what she's saying. Oh,
right,
for a
right.
falconer's voice to lure him back. I wish I could get Echo's voice and use that to get Romeo's name. And he's like, it is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Juliet says, Romeo,
My dear,
at what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
at the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay to have thee still forget, forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving, jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
So sweet would I, yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. Exit above.
So yeah, it's basically the whole hang up. No, you hang up. I
Yeah.
can't remember why I called you back. Neither can I. Let's just hang here until we remember. Oh no. And Wanton's bird, so it's basically a little bird that has a little thread tied to its foot.
Yeah.
So, they'd have pet birds, and so they just sort of tug it back so it couldn't fly away. That's the whole point. And
Yeah.
then she's like, yet I would kill thee with much cherishing. Like if you were my bird, I'd just cuddle you too hard and you'd die. And then of course he says, sweet sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father's cell, his help to crave, and my dear hap to tell. So basically, I'm going to go to the father. I'm going to go see Friar Lawrence, and I'm going to tell him what's going on and crave his help.
That's
A little
right.
bit of foreshadowing for the very next scene.
And that is the most famous scene in Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2 done. That's
Yeah.
it's fascinating to actually go through it in detail versus just what I vaguely knew of the scene from the zeitgeist, and yeah, seeing the difference in
Yeah.
their character, that Romeo is this love-struck sort of moron he's incredibly
Yeah.
eloquent, but he's absolutely just like swept away by it all. And
Yeah.
then yeah, Juliet with her mind on the practicalities and also
Yeah.
being like, let's not lose our heads here, is
Yeah.
because I sort of didn't know the character. You know, I know of Romeo and Juliet, but I didn't really know their personalities. And now that I'm going through it again,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Romeo's just this sort of big love-struck fool,
Yeah.
and whereas Juliet's very, very practical and very sort of seems quite witty and but in a kind of quiet,
Yeah.
confident sort of way. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, is that we see this sort of tendency to get carried away and intense emotions from Romeo. And for this, like the first half of the play, it's really sweet and endearing and comedic, as you can see through that exchange. You can really lean into the comedy if you want
Hmm.
to. And it does kind of play as this sort of romantic comedy
It
if you
does.
don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And then it's later on when everything starts falling apart that those traits become so tragic. Same thing with Juliet, the fact that she plans and thinks and is witty and smart, that also backfires as well because her patience and rationality also makes her situation even worse because her attempt to reason with her parents who are stuck in their grief leads to them rushing up the wedding. And then her plan to, fake her death and stuff is completely rational and would have worked, but for a couple of things going wrong.
That's right.
Spoiler warning. Um,
Foreshadowing.
but yeah, and again, really lovely and sweet and beautiful until it becomes tragic.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Those virtues become vices because of the circumstances and the inability for one or the other. If she had been more impetuous and said, you know what, I'm jumping off this balcony, let's run away together right now,
Who
different play,
knows?
right?
Who knows what would happen? Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So the Zoom meeting is just about to expire. So Jeff's links are going to be in the show notes. Kamikaze Jeff on Instagram, if my memory serves, and then Jeff
That's
Clark
correct.
Performer on Facebook. So thank you for joining me, Jeff. We are going to do
Well, you're
another
very
episode
welcome.
straight after this, I think. So we will be back with you soon, dear listener. Well, it'll be a week's time in real life. But yeah, thank you, Jeff, for joining me. I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of Line by Line. Thank you so much for listening, and if you enjoyed it, please tell your theatre-loving friends about it, give us a share on social media, and most importantly, leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Good Pods, or whatever your favourite podcatcher is. Come back next week, same time, same place for another episode of Line by Line. To quote the bard himself, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say goodnight till it be next week. Thank you for listening.
This has been a Tape Deck Media production. Thank you for listening.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.